many people know you as the CEO of Merit, but they don't know about your journey.
From Alaska to Massachusetts, the Soviet Union was kind of part of my education.
How did you get into real estate?
I got an interesting call to go work for Roman Abramovich, the gentleman who used to own the Chelsea football team, one of
Okay.
Russia's wealthiest men.
How did that lead you to the Middle East?
Oddly enough, through LinkedIn, he asked me, Mike, do you want to come work for Qiddiya in Riyadh?
Now you're based in the UAE with 200 nationalities living and working together. How do you feel your leadership style has changed to adjust to that?
And I try to get better every day. I push my people the same. I try to give them training and give them opportunities.
You've led businesses through uncertain financial times, uncertain political times, and also through times of great success. What does leadership look like to you when the future feels uncertain? Welcome back to the Merit Talks podcast. I'm your host, Harley Jenner, and in every episode, we go beyond property to explore how great people and bold ideas design the way we live, work, and connect. Today, I'm joined by Michael Belton. Thank you very much for being here today.
Nice seeing you, Harley.
And today is a slightly different episode. This is the first time we're having a podcast together. So many people know you as the CEO of Merit, but they don't know about your journey. So in today's episode, we'll discuss what led you from Alaska to the UAE and everything in between. So can you tell us about growing up in Alaska and how this shaped your journey to become who you are today?
Well, the first thing I can say is there's not many people who've been born in Alaska. The state of Alaska is twice the size of France, and we have a total population of about 500,000 people. So it's very, very small.
Yes.
Most of the people that are there, they weren't even born there. They were brought through tourism, through industry, or through the military. And in my case, I'm one of 4 children. I'm the youngest, and I'm the only one who was born in Alaska. My oldest sister was born in Germany. I have a brother born in Massachusetts, a sister in New York, and then my father was transferred because he worked in the Army to Alaska, and I was born there in 1969. Growing up there was normal for me. There are some things that are different in Alaska. First of all, is that we have the sun out pretty much 3 months in a row in the summer.
Okay.
And then the opposite, in the winter, it's dark for almost 3 months. So the sun will rise at 11 in the morning and set around 1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So you have to have a strong character to thrive in that. The summer is great. The winter is not so great.
Very true.
And other things that are interesting about Alaska is that there's a lot of oil revenue. So the school system is very good in Alaska.
Okay.
And in America, if you put your children into schools, you pretty much have to get them into private schools for good education. In Alaska, due to the oil revenue, all the schools were fantastic. We had computers at a very young age. We did a lot of interesting field trips. One of my high school trips with my class was going to Hawaii. So we had a lot of extra perks that let us get out and experience different things. And because I have a mother who is from New York, a father from Iowa, we did a lot of traveling. And it's always been in my genes to get out and see new things. And from a young boy, I was very curious.
So you did a big move when you moved from Alaska to Massachusetts for university. And then you did an even bigger move when you moved to the then Soviet Union after graduating. What made you decide to do these moves?
Well, I think as a child, if you have I think ambitions and you're raised in Alaska, you want to see what's next, what's bigger.
Okay.
So me going to the East Coast or going to Massachusetts to university was just kind of a feeling that if I wanted to do something big, I had to get out of Alaska. So I think many people make that move. If you have ambitions, you try to go to a bigger city or to a bigger state. And from Alaska to Massachusetts, it was an excellent opportunity. Going to the Soviet Union, it also goes back to my time as a boy in Alaska. I was an avid hockey player. I still play hockey. I think I've mentioned that a few times on the podcast. Here with a team called the Flying Beavers, which are pilots of Emirates Airlines. Most of these guys, for some reason, are Canadian. So we have a lot of northern people that are even here. But to get to the Soviet Union, it was from a very young age, I was watching the Soviet hockey team play, and I always wanted to go over and play hockey in the Soviet Union. The other thing is that when I was growing up, we were afraid of the Cold War.
Okay.
And being in Alaska, we were on the front lines with the Soviet Union, basically from Siberia. So from a very young age, I wanted to try to do everything possible to avoid a nuclear war.
Hmm.
So going to the Soviet Union was kind of part of my education. I thought that I should have joined the State Department when I was in my university. Going over there on this foreign exchange program to Leningrad Polytechnical University was an opportunity for me to see what it was really like in the Soviet Union.
Okay. You spent around 25 years there, obviously back and forth. What did you learn during your time there?
Well, basically, most of my adult life has been spent in Russia.
Mm.
I went there in 1990 for school. From 1992 up until 2008, I lived there exclusively.
Okay.
And there was a period of time where I traveled back and forth between Los Angeles and Moscow every month. And then I lived there again from 2019 full time up until the time I left in 2022. So my adult life was basically there.
Yes.
So I learned first and foremost a different culture. Being in Alaska, it's a pretty small community, so being exposed to other cultures for me was very interesting. I learned that there's a very, very, very well-established culture in Russia. Everything from food to education to the way people associate, how men and women interact with each other. So it was an entire laboratory that I learned how a different culture worked.
Hmm.
And one of the good things for me is that I learned to speak Russian. And if you come to a foreign country and you can speak Russian with the guys on the hockey team or with the guys in the Russian hot bath or over a dinner, you can start learning about people. And I'm an outgoing person, so we would have people over to our house to see how the Americans lived. We had a lot of Halloween parties, and the Russians loved the Halloween parties. We
Yeah.
did Thanksgiving, which is a big tradition for us, as well as the 4th of July, our
Okay.
Independence Day. So we were always doing parties, always having people come over. And the same thing is I got invited over to Russians' Maslenitsa parties or to their party for New Year's or for their independence. So all these things really allowed me to really share in the culture of the Russians.
So it seems like they really embraced you in Russia. How did you get into real estate there?
It was a very interesting opportunity for me. I was working in Russia with my own business at a very young age,
Okay.
trying to do some importing and exporting business, and it didn't work out the way that I wanted to.
Hmm.
And I went to Moscow and met with an American real estate development company called Hines.
Okay.
Get a cold call, walked in on a Saturday to their office, and they realized that I was an American who wanted to live in Russia.
Hmm.
I spoke some Russian, and they had a problem of bringing over American project managers. And after 3-4 months, they would wash out. It was too
Yeah.
cold. There wasn't enough for their wives to do. It just wasn't. It wasn't aligned with those professionals' interests.
Hmm.
So they offered me an opportunity because of my, I think first and foremost, my American passport.
Yes.
I was young, interested in real estate. They gave me the foundation of real estate. I worked with Hines for just about 10 years, started as a leasing consultant, and then ended up being the director of development for them in Russia. Was there 10 years, and then I got an interesting call to go work for Roman Abramovich, the gentleman who used to own the Chelsea football team, one of
Okay.
Russia's wealthiest men, and he wanted to set up a Western real estate development company in Moscow.
Wow.
And I'd say, quite well known at the time.
Hmm.
Again, being an American who spoke Russian, who was involved in a lot of interesting projects. Due to Heinz, invited me to be the director of development for him. I did that for 5 years, and it was amazing. And you have to remember that the Soviet Union had a communist regime for 75 years,
Hmm.
so they did not have good shopping malls, good residential buildings, good hotels, or good office buildings.
Okay.
So me as an American coming there, I intuitively knew what a Class A office building was, what a good shopping mall should have,
Hmm.
what are anchor tenants. All these things that I just grew up with, I was able to incorporate.
Yeah.
I worked for Amman and Millhouse Capital for about 5 years, and then I left and set up my own company, and I have been an owner, CEO for now, I think, over 22, 23 years.
Hmm. Very interesting. And how did that lead you to the Middle East?
Ah, so in 2022, we've all heard about the conflict in Ukraine.
Hmm.
As an American there, I decided it was time for me to not be there.
Okay.
So I left Russia. We had offices with my company in Moscow and Paris, London, and New York. I came back and worked out of the New York office.
Okay.
And there was a call to come to Dubai because a number of our clients were here saying that we've moved to Dubai, but there's no quality housing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Come over. So I guess now about 5 years ago, I came here. We did a tour in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai. We met with some of our co-investors and some of the people who are asking us to build good properties for them. And we said, this is a place we want to set up our business. I then started looking about how to do that.
Okay.
And I met with a good friend of mine who runs one of the larger development companies here actually in Abu Dhabi. And he told me, Mike, don't come to the UAE. People here have been doing this for 20, 25 years. They know what they're doing. You've missed the boat. Go to the kingdom. And I was like, what's the kingdom? He said, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
So I researched it. I looked into it, and I saw they were doing all these amazing giga projects
Yes.
in Saudi Arabia. Again, a little bit more research, and I found out which were the best ones that I thought had a good chance of being successful. One of them was Qiddiya.
Okay.
Oddly enough, through LinkedIn, I met up with somebody who had worked in Florida, lived near where my house was in Florida. We had a chat, and he asked me, Mike, do you want to come work for Qiddiya in Riyadh? I said, it'd be interesting if there's a good opportunity and a good title. 5 minutes later, he had me on the call with the director of development for all of Qiddiya.
Okay.
We went through an interview with him on Zoom. After 20 minutes in the discussion, he said to me, you probably think I'm trying to sell you. And I said, it sounds that way. He said, well, you're right, I am. We want you here. We want you to come head up one of our business units of development. So 3 weeks later, I was on a plane to Riyadh. I spent 4 days touring the office, meeting the top management, touring the site.
Mm-hmm.
10 days later, they gave me an offer, and I moved to Riyadh ahead of my family to set things up.
Okay.
We were there working on this amazing project called Qiddiya.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had initially $2 billion under management. After 6 months, it was bumped up, I think, to about $9 billion under management. And it was a very interesting opportunity. There are very few Americans that work in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So I was able to push the project the way I wanted to do it, which was different than a lot of the other expats that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the team. I enjoyed everything. And then one day I get a phone call from my good friends at Merid, who had been my competitors in Moscow for 15 years.
Okay.
Sometimes they would win the award for best project. Sometimes my company would win the award. We had done a joint venture together in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Called me and said, Mike, we'd like you to come and be the CEO of Merid. For me, it was an interesting proposition. I said, I'm not used to moving companies that long. Before going to Qiddiya, I was with my company for 18 years.
Yes.
So I wasn't really open to the idea of leaving my team and leaving the project. But they made me a very attractive offer to come here and to be a partner in the business, and to participate in growing an amazing brand, which I think Merid is doing. We're able to show how we do things a little bit differently. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a very interesting journey.
And what were the major cultural differences that you noticed from going from Russia to the Middle East?
Well, I think that there are cultural differences. I think that the thing that has amazed me everywhere is the people in Russia are extremely kind and very nice and
Mm-hmm.
very intelligent. In Saudi Arabia, I had no experience with people in Saudi Arabia. They were also so engaging and so open and so welcoming. It was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, when you work there, you see Saudis every day.
Yes.
90% Saudi and 10% expat. Coming to Dubai, it's just the opposite. It's 10%
Completely.
Emirati and 90% is everyone else.
Yes.
So the multiculturalism that's here, I haven't seen anywhere else in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy working with people of different nationalities. People bring different skill sets, different points of view. So it's sat with me well. A lot of Americans don't go more than 500 miles from their home. They don't have passports.
Yes.
I've worked internationally for 30 plus years. So I'm used to different people, different ways of thought. So I really fit in well in Dubai.
Yeah. And what was your first impression of the UAE?
First of all, it's extremely dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It's very blingy. And this is more of Dubai than Abu Dhabi, but very flashy. If you see a very expensive car, usually it's a broker's car.
Usually.
So those guys are making all the money. And I was surprised really at how green it was coming from Riyadh, it's not very green at all.
Okay.
Here, the amount of time and money they put into planting and irrigating is amazing. Driving from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, they have planted the whole highway, and how much water that takes, it's just beyond me. So I think that's been interesting, and I guess the pace in Saudi Arabia, the projects are more government based.
Okay.
Here it's individual developers that are go 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 go, new ideas, new brands. It's just a very dynamic market.
So the UAE is experiencing, or the Middle East in general is experiencing its share of political tensions and uncertainty. But the UAE and Dubai is still attracting businesses, it's attracting talent, it's attracting people. Why do you think this is?
Well, I would say that the UAE over decades has spent money doing this. So they have a very good tax regime for most people to come here and not to pay income tax. As an American, I don't benefit from that, but it's very beneficial for most of the people from all around the world. So that's good. It's extremely safe.
Yes.
There's very good food. There's opportunity to grow. And I think that most markets, whether it's other countries in the Middle East or countries in Europe or even in America, people don't see the opportunity to grow. The markets are pretty stagnant. You can't build amazing projects like this in Europe. It would take you probably 10 years to get it approved. And then there would be a crisis and you would never get it built.
Yeah.
Here, there's opportunity, and opportunity draws people who are intelligent, hardworking, and who want to take a risk. I would say the other thing with the recent conflict that's been surrounding us, what we've noticed is that the UAE government has been prepared, and I think this is something that really has impressed me, that everything was orderly, food security, safety. There has not been one issue that was not planned for ahead of time. So I think if this situation would have happened in America, it would have been a very different situation. In France, we saw when PSG when they won the UFA Cup, there were riots in Paris after winning a football game. You don't see that here, and it's very very good that you know that your wife and children are safe, and it's just, I think, a very nice environment to be in.
It is. And what message would you like to share with global investors and let them see that this resilience is happening?
Well, I think we have Abu Dhabi and Dubai are a tale of two cities. Abu Dhabi has really come into a very strong market position right now. All the developers are selling. The people are very excited here. And it's an economy that's based off of, first and foremost, they have the oil, which has been very important, and natural gas. They have the government that is here. They have investment in AI that's going on. So they're investing away from petrodollars into AI and other interesting industries where we see the future going to happen. So if you are wanting to bring your business here, it has all the foundation. Dubai is a city that I haven't seen anywhere else in the world. And it's just exciting. It's vibrant. The beaches are maybe not as good as they are in Abu Dhabi, but they're still there, and we enjoy going with the family. They put a lot of work in infrastructure. We all know about Emirates Airlines and the airport, but they're now building the world's largest airport between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They just keep doing these things, building an air-conditioned bicycle track that's, I don't remember the number, but 100 kilometers long. They're doing all these things that you just can't imagine them happening in any other country in the world. So if you want to bring your business here, if you want a safe environment, if you want to have a good tax base, if you want to have support by the government, this is a place to do it.
So you have managed diverse teams around the world in many different countries. Now you're based in the UAE with 200 nationalities living and working together. How do you feel your leadership style has changed to adjust to that?
I don't think my leadership style has changed. My leadership style reflects myself.
Okay.
And I try to get better every day. But I think that the main thing about my leadership style is that I like to give people opportunities. I am not a micromanager. So I try to set out the big tasks, and I try to challenge my team. And I think most people enjoy being given an opportunity to do something new, and to be challenged. So whether the person is from Jordan or from Russia or from the US, I don't treat them any differently. There are some cultural differences with women. For
Mm-hmm.
example, it's common in France or in Russia to kiss a woman on the cheek when you meet them. Here you don't do that. So there are some cultural differences.
Yes.
But as far as leadership, I push my people the same. I try to give them training and give them opportunities. And if they excel, they get promoted. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't, maybe it's not the right work environment for them.
Okay. You've led businesses through uncertain financial times,
Hmm.
uncertain political times, and also through times of great success. What does leadership look like to you when the future feels uncertain?
Well, there's opportunities usually in any market. So when there's uncertainty, the main thing you can do for your employees and your investors is to speak with them.
Okay.
Don't hide from them. Come out to them and tell them this could be a problem, and here's what we're doing. So, and in a certain time, you need to give that certainty.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have all the answers, but you have to be able to be approachable. And my office, as you know, Harley, the door is always open unless I'm in
Yes.
another meeting. So if someone has a problem, they can always come into me. We get our teams together, as you know, either once or twice a week, and we go through all of the projects,
Mm-hmm.
all the problems, all the challenges we have. So I think it's important to let people know what's going on. And when there is uncertain times, after those uncertain times, there's usually opportunities to do something bigger and better. And I just saw, I think yesterday on Instagram, it says something like, if you're not having a good day, don't worry because it'll pass. And if you're having a good day, enjoy it because there may be a bad day coming. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of these cycles that you can't always perform 100%. You need to take the good with the bad,
Yeah.
and oftentimes from bad comes good. And I wish it was 100% every day, but it doesn't work like that. Not professional sports teams, not businessmen, not CEOs.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing is just to keep moving forward the best way you can. And I think that you have to understand some things you can control and some things you can't. I always focus on the things that I can control.
Okay.
If I see someone stressing out about something that they cannot control, I try to let them relax.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in times of uncertainty, the best thing for me as a leader is to listen. If someone's got a problem, let them vent, let them come up with their problem. Usually by talking, they'll resolve their problem by themselves.
True.
But if I have the ability to add some advice or some wisdom, I always try to do that.
Okay. And has there been a time in your career where you didn't know what was going to happen next or you felt uncertain? And if there was, how did you overcome this?
Well, the answer is 100% yes. In real estate development, we're oftentimes on the thin ledge of this fence
Okay.
from severe profitability to losing money. It's a,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very difficult business that we're in. Many people think that it's extremely profitable. It's profitable in good times. Now with the crisis, we see construction costs going up. We didn't plan for that in some of our business models, so we had to figure out how to get out of that.
Yes.
So have there been times I did not know what to do? 100%. So I think I learned this a long time ago. First of all, you breathe,
Okay.
you absorb the problem, um, and you accept it. If there's a big problem, and it can be that you lost a contract, right? Or you had a big client that walked away. Yeah, just stressing about it and worrying about it doesn't help. Accept it and figure out what am I going to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, my main goal, or one of my main strengths actually, is probably accepting a problem and then figuring out what to do next.
Okay. And what two pieces of advice would you give to someone who would like to be a successful leader in the future?
Well, I think that not everybody can be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's probably maybe 10% of the population that are meant to be leaders that have that skill and that have the desire to do that. For those of you that have it, I probably can't give them much advice because they're born leaders. But what I would say is that when you're young, try to work with somebody or a company that you can learn on their dollar.
Okay.
Don't go out day one thinking you know everything and start investing your money or your family's money.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from someone. Your 20s are a good time to learn. When you get to be 30, then you want to think about what are my next steps? I moved onto my own company when I was 31 years old.
Okay.
And it was an opportunity for me to really try something new. So I think it was probably about the right time for me. I think 35 in my generation is the right time when you really should be trying to make that move.
Hmm.
Again, if you are an entrepreneur or a leader. The other thing is always try to continue to learn.
Okay.
It's reading books, it's meeting people, it's traveling. If you're sitting at home and you're playing video games or doing something that's on Instagram, you're not learning from that in general.
Hmm.
Try to learn, business magazines, travel, look at interesting projects. It's very important.
Okay, great advice there. You often talk about giving people opportunities. Why is this such an important part of your leadership philosophy?
I think it's part of my personal DNA, and I respect people who gave me the opportunities.
Okay.
I get back to my days when I was an ice hockey player. I was a good hockey player, and I was given opportunities by many coaches to go and work a little harder, to
Hmm.
work on my shot or work on my skating. And because of those very small things, it made a big difference in my life. Even in university, I remember some professors giving me a little bit extra time and attention. It really influenced me the way that I decided to follow my own career.
Okay.
So for me, I understand the importance of that for myself. My office, as you know, is an extended version of my family. So why would I not want to give my brother or my daughter or my wife an opportunity? It's
Hmm.
the same way in the office. And the more that Harley you can do, or our head of design, or our head of procurement, or sales, the more they can do, the more I can focus on other tasks.
Yeah.
So on one way, I realize it's an ability for me to grow because I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. I'm not learning.
Hmm.
So I always push people to take more and take more and take more. And again, my macro management style, it's not for everyone. Some people don't get it.
Yes.
But I think in a dynamic market like development, if you're controlling everything and not giving people opportunities, one, they'll leave.
Hmm.
Two, you're not going to build your project as fast as you can, and you're not getting other perspectives which you need to build an amazing project like Riviera
Yeah.
or Iconic.
You've said before that real estate isn't really about buildings, it's about people.
Hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that's a pretty deep question. I just say the following, that um, when you build an amazing project, it's something that stands time,
Hmm.
not a generation, not two generations. It's something that people will enjoy for 10, 20, 30, 50, hopefully 100 years. And we do when we travel.
Yeah.
We go and we see the amazing Colosseum, right? You go to London,
Hmm.
you see Buckingham Palace. These are objects of art that people build, and they built it through real estate. The other side of it is that when I look out of our office in Dubai down in Iconic, I see the 750 construction workers building this building, and their hands and their sweat and their tears build that building that pays for their family. Money goes home to them,
Hmm.
and it improves their life. So I think that real estate, like any other business, it really allows people to grow, to earn, and to prosper. And the first generation of immigrants that came to America, they were able to provide for their families. We see the same thing here in UAE, and a lot of that's through real estate.
Yeah.
So I think that it's career growth, it's opportunity, it's building buildings that people can appreciate. We offer amazing amenities. We offer restaurants, cafes that people can come in and enjoy. So real estate is really for people and about people,
Hmm.
just like the motto of Merit.
Yes. And you spent 3 decades in the industry. What do you feel sets a good development apart from a really exceptional development?
Well, I think it's the idea and the timing. And
Okay.
I've been fortunate to be in a couple projects where I saw something the market didn't see.
Okay.
I believed in it. I invested in it. I brought co-investors into it. It built it, and it really hit the market the way it should.
Hmm.
There are ingredients associated with that: good architects, good engineers, good construction managers that know how to deliver a quality project. And I think all those ingredients really make a big difference. If you're building a beautiful project in the wrong location, it may not work. It
Yeah.
probably will fail. So you've got to have all these ingredients of location, timing, idea, good design, and then good execution. If you can do that, you're probably going to have a successful project.
Yeah. Great.
And a good market. A good market is very important.
Mhm. When people talk about the UAE, Dubai often dominates the conversation. Even people say they're going to Dubai, they don't say they're going to the UAE.
Mm.
But why is Abu Dhabi getting more important nowadays? And why should investors start to focus on Abu Dhabi?
Well, Abu Dhabi is the capital of the UAE.
Hmm.
If you look on a map, it's 3/4 or more of the landmass of UAE. The capital is here, like
Yeah.
$2 trillion with the Sovereign Wealth Fund and Mubadala. It's the capital of capital because of that. The best beaches that I have seen in the UAE. And I believe there's a goal to take all of the experience from Dubai, both good and bad, and do it better here.
Okay.
So we're seeing kind of the big brother of UAE learning from the younger brother,
Hmm.
and now bringing that home to do some amazing projects. So we see that investment in all different levels. Again, AI or real estate or hospitality, it's happening here. And then there's been an amazing thing that many people don't know about in Abu Dhabi. Up until April of 2019, foreigners could not buy property here in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
So they allowed that law to happen to bring in foreign investment, and there were a lot of expats living here. The population has grown crazy since that period of time, and all these people want housing. So we had COVID in 2020, went to 2021, and since 2022, you've seen this interest just growing and building and growing and building. So
Mm.
that's why Abu Dhabi didn't have many projects that were being delivered.
Okay.
The market wasn't able to even buy the ones that were here.
Hmm.
So now we see this ability to buy. The developers want to meet that demand. So Abu Dhabi is really moving now at an amazing pace, maybe catching Dubai in the next 5 to 10 years.
That would be very interesting. Do you feel Abu Dhabi's now at a turning point in its growth?
I think it's not a turning point, it's on an escalation. So I think that they've made it a priority to develop the city in a smart manner,
Hmm.
invest in infrastructure, keep traffic down. There's only certain areas where you can build high-rise buildings, and Al Reem is one of them, where we are building Riviera
Yeah.
residences. So they have really used all of the world experience to now focus Abu Dhabi on a real growth phase, and we're seeing that right now.
Hmm. So we're living in a time where we don't know what's going to happen next week or next year or even 5 years down the line. It can be scary or it can be exciting. What are your thoughts of the future?
I'm not scared about it at all. As you know, I have 5 daughters, so
Yes.
for them, I think it's an interesting time.
Hmm.
I have one daughter who is a graphic designer,
Okay.
and I've told her that it's a good time for her to move out of graphic design into some AI version of graphic design, to be the
Yeah.
one who understands how to use that. So I'm trying to help my children retool themselves
Hmm.
to be ready for the future. I don't think that robots are going to take over everything that we're doing. I think that they will be additional assistance to us and help to us. And over the years or decades or centuries, we've had one revolution to another, different technology that allows us to do things better and bigger and faster. So
Yeah.
I think of it more as an opportunity. And when I was a young man, I had mentors who
Hmm.
I was surprised at how ingrained they were with technology. I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out what was going on, but these guys who were 55, 60 years old, they were ahead of me in technology.
Hmm.
And so it's always spurred me on to try to be one who embraces technology, not to shy away from it.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh, 5 years I'll be here in the UAE. I plan to be here for another 10 years. After that, we would never know. I think that all the ingredients that make this a wonderful place to work and live, I don't see them going away.
Yeah.
I don't see the issues being resolved in Europe, and I don't know what's going to happen in America.
Hmm.
But for me, I prioritize safety. I prioritize freedom. I prioritize a way of life that I'm not afraid of wealth, where I think in Europe, wealth is kind of a bad word.
Yeah.
America is kind of going that way. And I would like to continue, raising my family here.
Do you see yourself staying in Dubai, or do you see a move to Abu Dhabi in your future?
Well, we just moved into a new apartment that we completely refurbished in Dubai a couple months ago.
Hmm.
So we're not ready for the move, but my wife is ready. If we
Okay.
do another development in Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
that we'll be prepared to move here. The schools are good, the beaches are good, the environment is good for raising a family.
Mm.
So I think that we are ready to move here, if the business desires it to do that.
I know you've answered these questions many times before, but I'd like to see if your answers have changed. What matters the most to you when choosing a property?
Well, we just said that potentially we could be moving here to Abu Dhabi.
Hmm.
Um, for us to pick a new property, it would one need to be near a school. For us in Abu Dhabi, it probably would be a villa, so we have to look at the
Yeah.
locations around the school for that. We would pick a very good developer, and there are a few good developers that are here that we would consider.
Yeah.
We have some villas here at Riviera Residences, which could be potential for us, and we have good schools nearby. Um, and I think it depends a lot about the infrastructure in the community.
Okay.
We put a lot of emphasis into infrastructure, and I'm sure we'll show on the board all these amazing amenities that we have at Riviera. But I want a paddle court, I want swimming pools, I want workstations where I can go have a conference
Hmm.
call. I want to be able to have a spa. I want to enjoy my time away from the office. So I think a project like Riviera Residences, one of the Sky Villas or one of the Bay Villas, would be a choice for us.
Okay. And what do you think will matter most to future generations in their homes?
I think that the new generation, they are less tied to concrete, and furniture than they are to connectivity to, internet. So I think connectivity that way is important.
Yeah.
I think that they have connectivity with each other is very important. So I think people probably need smaller spaces that are private and larger public spaces.
Hmm.
So they don't want to sit in their apartment and have a cup of coffee. They want to go to a coffee shop and talk with someone. I think that
True.
connectivity that we saw, go away during COVID, people want that back now. So I think that connectivity is probably number one for the new generation.
And nowadays, what does luxury look like to you?
So for me, luxury is being able to spend time with the people who I want to spend time with. That's probably the biggest luxury that I have, and
Okay.
I have that wonderful opportunity this summer. We have a wonderful vacation. Going to be spending 2 weeks in Montenegro, and then another week in Florida after that. So for me, I in general don't take so much time off, in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real treat for me this year to spend time with my family, in Montenegro, and then for a 80th birthday of an aunt of mine in Florida. So I'm very looking forward to spending my time
Yeah.
the way I want to.
Lovely. Well, thank you for your answers. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to having you on the podcast again soon.
Thank you, Harley. My pleasure to share.